I guess the question is, where do we start? Or better yet, a more intriguing question may be, where are we going? What are my goals for this project? So, this is Codebreaker. The podcast's kind of envelope would be living life for a living. This is about entrepreneurship, and maybe even a little bit more specific, it's about the entrepreneurial spirit, the idea of entrepreneurship, what it means, the mindset behind it. And so ultimately, where I want to go with this is creating something for like-minded people and people who have that little spark, that little itch for personal growth, to evolve into their best self, that itch to create something or build something or make something. The makers, the creators, the designers, essentially the entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, small businesses. For those people who are looking to exchange, who are looking to commune. For me, that's a strong word, communion, people coming together. So people who are looking to come together and figure out a little bit more, learn a little bit more, exchange information, exchange knowledge, and get to know each other within a community of entrepreneurs. I would say this is me putting together the things in which I wish I had when I started my journey. And to give you a little bit of a background on that, I'm maybe about 2 decades in, almost 20 years of entrepreneurship. I create businesses, I create brands, I create products. And ultimately, a few years ago, I had to ask myself this entrepreneurship concept, the idea of being an entrepreneur, which I have called myself for decades now. What exactly does it mean? And I started to realize that if I actually looked at the things in which I do, entrepreneurship is more of a silo, it's more of a funnel, it's more of a mode of transportation. It's the methodology in which I approach business. But more importantly, it's the methodology in which I approach expressing my creativity from the standpoint of design. I design websites, I design, like I said, brands, businesses, I design fashion, I design jewelry, I design art, I design tech, I design whatever comes to mind as a form of expression. And this is, again, going back to the idea of living life for a living. I don't take my work as a job. I take it as me doing the things in which I would do regardless of if there was a financial motivation tied to it. So this is what Codebreaker is. Now, why Codebreaker? Because I think to truly understand the entrepreneurial spirit, and let's say how to leverage entrepreneurship, how to make the most out of entrepreneurship, to truly understand that, I think you have to have a proper understanding of the systems in which you're in. Not all systems are equal. Not all spaces are equal. There's systems in place in which you're born into, in which you have to acclimate to on one level, in which you have to understand, in which you have to kind of know the truth or figure out the truth. And once you start understanding the code, you have a better ability to, one, take advantage of it, truly take advantage of it. Once you start understanding the systems, you have the ability to leverage it to your own needs. So I say you have to have access, you have to have opportunity, and you have to have the ability to take advantage of the opportunity. When you start to understand, again, what I call the codes of a system, you're better able to see the opportunities and better able to leverage the system. Having the knowledge to tap into how it functions gives you an advantage over what else may be trying to participate in that system. We will speak about the things in which I know, because I don't plan on speaking too much about what I don't know. I can give opinions, but I will give my opinions based on my experiences and fields in which I have been involved in. So on one level, we'll talk about entrepreneurship, the general concepts behind entrepreneurship. What is it, etc., etc. One of the things in which I do with my agency is a lot of brand consulting, and how to build a brand specifically, right? The concept of a brand versus a company, the concept of a brand versus a business. We will talk about entrepreneurship in general. We'll talk about brand building. We will talk about the culture. And I say this specifically because my background specifically has been about cultivating culture. My entrepreneurial endeavors, my design endeavors have always had a hint of, if you want to say, the culture, right? We will talk about music because I was in the music business, or I am in the music business, have been in the music business or the business of music for over 2 decades. We will talk about fashion because I have a history with design, manufacturing, producing, managing, distributing brands. We will talk about tech. And with that, we'll discuss the tools, especially now. I cannot emphasize how at this point in time, you have to have a better understanding of the tools that are available to you as an entrepreneur, as a creative, as an influencer, as anyone trying to leverage an idea or create a spark or an energy to create revenue for themselves. The tools will set you free. And right now, more than ever, access to these tools are becoming easier. The tools are becoming more accessible. And remember, I said access, the opportunity, access, and the ability to take advantage of said opportunity and access. We will also talk about the mindset of entrepreneurship and tied to one's well-being, right? So let's say the well-being of an individual. Some of the things in which people don't really discuss when it comes to entrepreneurship is how intense it is. It sounds good, freedom, the ability to call your own shots. But most entrepreneurs work twice as long for half the pay than most people in a normal 9 to 5, or their counterparts in a normal 9 to 5. So your mindset, your mental strength, your mental health, your physical health, being able to optimize your sleep, being able to optimize what you eat, knowing yourself, knowing your body. If we talk about living life for a living, the concept of entrepreneurship itself has to be looked at in a holistic form. And here's the thing. Why I say the entrepreneurial spirit is because you may not consider yourself an entrepreneur, but let me be clear on this. If you have any inclination to create, if you have at any time thoughts of, let me open a Etsy or open a fashion store, or let me create a clothing brand, or I want to build houses and sell houses. I want to start my own law firm. I'm an influencer, or I want to be an influencer, and I want to make a living from being an influencer. I want to be on YouTube. I want to be a YouTuber. You have the entrepreneurial spark. You have the ability to tap into that wavelength that gives you the idea of creating more for yourself, creating more control and freedom for yourself. And to be honest, I think that's the spark that makes us human, to create the world, God, the universe. We take that on regardless of if we know we're dealing with it or not. And there are a lot of things in which I'm building around this, in which we will share in the future. But for now, this is Codebreaker, where we discuss living life for a living, the entrepreneurial spirit, cultivating culture, and how to leverage the system. Stay tuned.